great.
All right. So I'd like to.
Minutes looked great, Patty.
Oh, I'm just about to ask about the minutes.
Yeah.
And
Nice job.
I added a little more detail this time because we had a good discussion. And it's like, okay, I don't have to say what all we discussed, but we did have a good discussion. I did a little, they want to do an Excel. Oh, first, let me say, do we want to approve the minutes?
Sure.
Second.
I'm in.
Okay, and I'll say aye. Okay, cool. And so I'm going to get that off my screen and start going here. They asked for a sort of an Excel spreadsheet, which I did a rudimentary one, and I'm just gonna see if I can share my screen for a moment so you can see what that is. It's very simple, and I've never tried sharing a screen, but let's see what we've got here.
So did you hit share screen down below?
There it is. Yeah, but now it's trying to, I think it's there. So let's see.
Oh yeah, there you
it
go.
went on there. Really? Okay. Because my screen doesn't have it on there. So, I mean, I've got my screen, so I've got it. Okay, so this is the only thing that we've really had so far is to agree on lowering the signature requirements. So that's why that's there. The rest of it is still up in the air. And Cameron, we have you here and we so appreciate it. I know that the committee has, well, they have questions for you. And I'm
hoping I can answer them.
Yeah.
For sure you can.
I'm going to wait, I think, until Liz joins us because I'm sure she'll have questions. But let's see if I can find where I...
Patty, this is Liz. Yes. I wouldn't wait. I think that would be too disrespectful. I mean, I appreciate you honoring my time, but I'm here. I can hear what's going on. And go ahead and move forward.
Okay. I was actually saving myself from some embarrassment because I don't have my list of questions here. Camelin?
Oh.
Yes.
Good job, Patty. I love it.
Yeah. So, hey, help. One of the things I asked you for was the original creators of the charter. Did you have a chance to look that up?
I did attempt to go through the paperwork. And some of the history I have is not very complete. I have miscellaneous paperwork, but I do not have the original list of charter or charter members, and the electronic archives do not go that far back. So basically I have from what we had in 2010, and I have a list of signatures that are not exactly legible to name some names off. And that was from like 1974.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So I'm happy to take a scan of everything I have. I'm
going to interrupt
that onto you and take a look at, yep. Go ahead.
I'm just going to say, hey, we wanted this as some background. I don't want you to put more energy into that because I'm not sure how much good that's going to do us at this point. We really wanted to ask people what their thinking was when they developed these things. And I think we can just stab ahead forward with that going back to the, what do you think, Dave? You're muted.
Going back, what was 1974? Excuse me. I'm sorry, I just muted myself again. Did I?
No, you're open.
Okay.
It
What
was like
was
the original charter, like not the original home rule charter, but when they started proposing everything together.
The first attempt?
Yes.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
those are the only names I have besides who was elected in 2010,
Oh,
as far as, physical paperwork and electronic archives.
And
okay.
those guys in 2010, that was the first review committee?
Yes.
Yes, so that isn't quite what we were looking for, but I so appreciate your going back into the records and searching for that.
Can I ask a question
I
about
think
the
we can.
2010? Kamala, on the 2010 people, so the charter was the amendment was voted on, and then when were the people elected? Were they elected at the exact same time?
In 2010, let me take a look here.
Oh, I was just curious.
My guess is they were elected, then did the review, and then brought it to the ballot, the amendments.
And then the people were elected afterwards?
No, beforehand,
Oh, before.
to review the home rule charter.
Yeah, but the
Well, sure,
actual
but-
council was elected after that,
Right.
when we went from 6 to 3.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I have a little different question. So it was 2005 that the charter was passed, and then that went from 3 to 6 then. Is that correct?
Oh, right.
How were the people, how were the extra 3 elected after the original charter was passed?
I
When
would
was
have to look that information up and go back in the archives. I
Okay.
can send an
Okay.
email with that response, though.
Yeah, that's great.
What was
Okay,
that?
so the going from the 3 to 6,
Oh.
and when and how they were elected.
Yeah.
Was that an extra 3? Did they just add another? No, they wouldn't have, because they had to redistrict.
They had to put all 6 of them on.
Yeah.
It changed, and it found that it didn't really work all that well, so they went back to 3.
Okay.
where-
I'll look that up and send a response tomorrow, okay?
Oh, yeah, there's plenty of time.
Yeah, we're,
My history goes back 4 years, and that's about it. The rest is digging through the
No worries.
information that the previous supervisors have left.
So are you able to see why they have the initiative? Or do you have any idea why the number is so high for how many signatures you have to get?
I do not. I mean, I know at this point it's 15%, which is just shy of 2,000 with the last voted in the last governor's race. And I think with 120 days to get that many signatures for changing an ordinance, or, a county ordinance, I believe that the extra effort is something to really put forth, considering the cost it takes, for an election.
Mhm. Do you think it's because all these other counties have lower numbers? And we were wondering if our number was high because we're smaller.
I would say it's high because we're smaller. If we're looking, I think it was, who was I looking at earlier? Snohomish, I think they were like 7%, but they're also, excuse me, still struggling with this cold here. They're also, their population is in the hundreds of thousands.
yes, but there are other counties that did have lower percentages also. Oh, I finally found my questions. One of the things that, to me, I know it's a small county, so in numbers, that means we have fewer signatures to gather, but we're also probably going to have fewer signature gatherers out there because we're also small, and our what do you call it? Our threshold is so high because we vote. We've got 80% of our electorate voting at the previous election, which means we've got to get a lot more people than those other counties that might have a lot fewer. I mean, signature numbers, yes, we're talking 2,000 or 1,900 signatures, which is probably not that many, but that's quite a few when the whole county is, 17,000. Did I say 19,000? I meant 1,900.
I got you.
Good Lord.
We
Yeah.
heard you.
So I don't know. I hear the arguments from both sides, and certainly when you're looking at raw numbers, it's not that many. But I just thought it was kind of a high threshold for people in the county to be getting them, and that was my pet project. It might be that we don't really need to do this because if you get 15%, you obviously have buy-in, and that means that you're not going to have anything that's a waste of money for the county to go through all of this.
Mhm.
It's a good tack.
Yeah. You said it costs money. These initiatives go on a general election ballot, right? There's not a special election for these necessarily, is there? Camlin?
No,
Okay. And what does it cost to put on an election in the county?
depending on which election it is, like in an odd year right now, we have the districts.
Your internet is
Sorry. Yeah.
With the and copy here. Sorry about that. Can you hear me?
not very well. We should have had.
Gosh, I'm so sorry.
Oh,
You're better now.
you're better now.
Okay. Generally in the odd years, let's just say that the average cost of an election is 30 to 70,000. And like for a primary with one race, we're looking around 30,000. But within the odd years, the election is split up between the districts and the state and the county, proportion to registered voters within that district and how many like races measures are on the ballot. So on average, it's for like a district, it's maybe 1,500 to 3,000, and so it is split up. And then during the odd years, it's just the council and elected officials in any measures and the state races. I can also email a spreadsheet of the general cost over the last, I think I have like the last 7-8 years to show the average cost of an election between a primary and a general.
I think that would be really valuable because we're going to have to provide findings, and I think the commission is going to ask us about the cost.
Yes.
So that'll be good information.
And the county covers that cost, is that right? Even though it's sort of split as to who's responsible for what within the county? Is that how
The county would only cover the cost of the measures that are on the ballot during the odd years. Because during the odd years, all the districts are on the ballot during the general. So the cost is, is spread out throughout the districts.
Districts meaning residency districts.
No, districts meaning the hospital district, fire district, water and sewer,
Okay.
park and rec.
So those things that are on the ballot during the odd years. Is that what you mean?
Yes. Yes.
So like
Yeah.
right now, Orcas School District has an item on a ballot for the April
Correct.
27th. So that money is just paid by the school district. Is that right?
Correct. There's right now there's the April special election will be divided. Like I said, it's proportion for like how many voters are in that district. And then the cost is broken out that way. So right now it'll be divided between town, the fire district, park and rec, and the Orca School District.
And as far as anything on the ballot, let's see, our thing is going to go on this odd ballot also, I think. The whatever comes up out of the commission that we're working on right now. So how does that get charged?
It would be charged to the county. The county would pick up the cost.
Okay. And when you do an initiative,
let me pull an odd year up just to give you a rough example. Maybe, maybe not. My connection is very slow here at home.
I know, I should have thought about that. We could have had our meeting during your working hours instead or something.
Okay,
Sorry
like I
about
said,
that.
I will email the election costs comparison to you tomorrow, so you can see exactly how the election is broken down. You know, depending on how many voters are in that precinct or that district, how many measures they have on the ballot. It'll make more sense once you visually see it.
So as far as initiatives are concerned, who pays that cost?
The county.
Okay.
And in the cost of an election, does that include the printing of the voter's guide?
During it used to be during the general that the voter's guide is split between the districts and the county. But the state has now passed a law that we need to provide a voter's pamphlet for every election. So for the special elections, we will just be doing an insert in the ballot envelope to the registered voters. And during the general, we will be sending out a print voters pamphlet with the state to all household members. So yes, there will be additional cost for the voters pamphlet in the future, but we're going to do our best to condense it down to an insert of 1 page folded to help with the costs.
Cool. And that is included in the cost of the election, that you're the numbers you're going to send us.
Yes, everything is salary, paper, IT services, GI services, a portion of the election equipment, the cost for printing the ballots, the cost for printing the envelopes, the cost for the salaries or salary pay for our ballot processors, the A-team, anything having to do with the election, even down to purchasing of red pens, which we only use red pens at the ballot processing table. That is my law. That is the law. So
Cool.
No other pens allowed. So anything having to do specifically to an election is billed directly to the election.
So this is just an aside, but so our commission, whatever we come up with, that's going to go in an insert in the ballot for this election? Or
For
will there?
the general?
This isn't a general coming up though, is it?
Well, right now, we have the April special. The law goes into effect for the primary. So right now, the April special, the voter's guide is just online. Am I answering that question correctly?
Yeah, so I guess what we're talking about for the commission is like a November election. So that's a general, even though it's.
Yes, that would be the general election. And the general election, there will be a printed
Voter's guide.
voters pamphlet. Yes. So
Okay, good.
there'll be an explanatory statement, the pros, the con statements. So basically, you know, a page or two will be in the voters pamphlet.
Carolyn, how often do we have elections? Seems like we're having them all the time.
There's generally there's 4 scheduled elections a year. There's the February special, April special, primary, and general. And then during that every 4th year, there's the presidential primary. Depending on the districts, whether they need to get a levy on, you know, passed, they'll decide for a February special or April special. Like we did have a February special. We have the
We're losing you again.
special. We'll have a primary. We will have an election a year. I missed what you said there.
I said I was losing you again.
Okay, can you did
Well,
you hear all that or?
I
It's
think
kind
we
of,
got the drift of it, but you're really unstable. So your voice really fluctuates a lot. We got to get the internet over to your area. We need to have a Rock Island intervention.
Yes. I think next time I'll just go back to work.
I'm
No,
sorry,
no,
I
no,
didn't
no.
even think about that. We should have tried to schedule you at the county, but
Yeah.
because who knows what your home,
Yeah, it's not your problem.
that's not your problem.
So can I ask another question on a different subject, or do you guys still have more on this? I was wondering if you knew anything about why this language is in there about the financial aspects, that we can't have, that we have financial limitations on initiatives.
In the home rule charter or the,
Yeah, in the
Yes.
Home Rule Charter.
no, I didn't have an answer for that.
Okay.
I do have this list here.
Mylene Henley would have an answer.
Okay.
Oh, good. Okay.
I have a, do you have questions?
Well, I found some of the questions, so, and I know they came from you guys, so I'm not really sure. One of the things was, what would your overall impression or perspective on the initiative process be, Cameron? What do you think about it?
I missed that. I didn't hear the whole question.
Oh, I guess we have problems going both directions. We wanted to know
Yes.
what your overall perspective on the initiative process was from your point of view.
I think it's great. I think it's great that the people have the power to change the law, to vote on it. I think it's very important that, not only, 3, 6 people, change the law, and it's the voice of the people that matter. I think it's very, very important that we keep it in place.
Dave, you had a question?
Do you know how many petitions have been filed since we've had this right, and how many have passed? Any idea about that?
Let's see here.
And also mini initiatives or referendums as well, whatever, any kind of that information. If you don't have it right in front of you right now, it'd be interesting to get it tomorrow as well, if that's easier for you.
Yeah, I'll have to dig really deep for the mini initiatives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
How about let's
There's been 11 things on the ballot for county. That have been brought from county council. But I can put together a spreadsheet of what the years and what was brought, and whether or not it passed. And you also wanted to know about the minis.
Yeah, I'm not aware of any, but what do you mean it was 11 things on the ballot brought from county council? Is that something that a referendum clause was put onto a bill?
But what I did is I went through the ballots the last few years. So it wasn't an easy way for me to search what was on the ballot. So I just physically had to go through the actual ballots. And there was a charter review amendment, an ordinance adopting a use tax for criminal justice and public safety, real estate excise tax, just a few things. So I can email these to you so you have a list and a snippet of the ballot titles too, which will give you a better explanation of exactly what it is.
Okay, cool.
And these were for the most part not initiatives necessarily. They were on the ballot presented from the council, or I don't know.
I would have to dig a little deeper to find out exactly how they were initiated.
So the county council can put things on the ballot. Like they decided after we got enough signatures for the REIT, they decided to put the REIT on the ballot. They decided last time they asked us to vote on whether or not they could have an opportunity to have a biennial budget. So that was probably on there.
Yes.
So there's lots of little items like that we get that the county council they vote to put it on the ballot. And that's like, in my mind, it's like saying, we're not going to just make this decision. We want everybody involved.
Yes.
I hope that helps.
Yeah, and the way these are listed, I can't tell if they're coming from council or if they're coming from, a sponsor from the people having to sign the, 50%, petitions and bringing it to council, whether or not they adopt it or send it to the people to vote on.
Got it.
Well, it will certainly be interesting to see how many of that type of thing there has been for the last, say, 10 years or so. I don't know what your parameter is that you're looking back, but that would be very helpful. And it is too bad that we can't, somebody's coming.
I let her in. Hi, Liz.
With the dog.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that would be.
Liz, you probably have to turn your phone off.
Okay.
I was holding it upside down and trying to get it to turn off.
No worries.
Chair, can I ask a question? Madam Chair, can I ask a question?
Yes, sorry.
Ellen, have you done a signature inspection, or have you tallied signatures before? You or
Yes,
your staff?
I've done a couple of them since then, the election supervisor.
Okay. And that's a matter of checking signatures. Do you check all the signatures or do you spot check them?
I do 100%. The reason for that is not all the signatures are registered voters. Not all the signatures are legible. Some of the signatures just have a signature and not a printed name. And then I can't read the signature, or they'll put down a resident address or a mailing address that I can't find. But yeah, I do 100% every single signature that is valid, that is on the front side of the petition with the proposed ordinance on the back. So 100% check.
What, if you don't mind me asking, what is, do you remember what the fall off was? What percentage of the signatures were invalid or not usable? I know the state recommends they do, you have 17% over or 20% over.
Yeah,
The
we
numbers.
always tell them to get at least 10%. And the last couple of times, there has been a petition. I've told the sponsor, not told, suggested, excuse me.
We know you rule the
um,
world.
It's just a very hard suggestion to get a
Yeah.
list of the registered voters, and while the person is there signing, to just do a quick check to say, hey, is this person registered? Because it validates their signature. It also helps us out when verifying the signature. So I would say there's maybe 5-10% that aren't valid signatures. Recently there was a petition that came through for an annexation. But the way they were bringing it, it was it needed to be registered voters, but the sponsor sent it to the homeowner, so it passed by one valid signature, but I had like another 100 signatures that weren't registered voters. So I just really try to spend some time with the sponsor to be very, very clear exactly, how they can benefit from a voter list, talking with the person and asking, hey, are you registered in San Juan County? Are you an active voter? So the last few that I've done, they've been pretty high as far as ballot signatures, with the exception of one.
Wow. Yeah.
I do have these lists of questions and I'm just gonna ask them. One of them was requirement for complete initiative language. Is that from the county or the state? Does the state dictate what our initiatives need to be, or is it a county requirement?
Are you saying the complete language on the back of the petition?
Yes.
That is, I know it's in the ordinance. I do not know if that is our county or the state. I can look that up and find that out. I do not know that answer.
Okay, thanks.
But I know it is written in the ordinance.
Are there ordinances in the code that we should look at? That was one of the questions. I'm not sure what we mean. Okay.
As far as, are we, where's my,
there is an ordinance there that's specifically on initiatives, and it says an awful lot that the charter says. It's like verbatim most of the way. So I know we have that
yeah,
one.
it's ordinance 25-2008.
Okay.
So everything in that ordinance, that is what I follow as far as a timeline, what's allowed, what's not allowed.
And it's basically the same thing that's in the charter. I mean, they looked an awful lot alike when I was reading that.
Yeah, the initial part of the ordinance pulls the sections 5.10, 5.20, 5.40, but then it's broken out in great detail.
Okay. There was a question about what does an initiative look like?
As far as a question, a ballot title question?
I don't know. Was that from you, Dave? Maybe. Oh, you're muted.
I was wondering if you could send us one, and just so we can see what it looks like. We can all just see what they look like in terms of I've only signed one here, and are they the same standards and edit as the state layout?
I missed the first part. Send you a copy of a petition?
Yeah,
An
Oh,
initiative.
for sure, not a problem.
just a PDF to us. That'd be great to see what they look like.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wait.
And Dave, is it the petition you're looking for or the initiative, or they one, does the petition lead to the initiative? Or is the initiative at the top of the petition?
An initiative petition that I think initiative is I don't know. There's initiatives a broader issue that's going forward, and the petition is what puts the initiative on the ballot, I think. So yeah, I'd like to see a petition, but the piece of a PDF of a piece of paper that people sign. I can
Sure.
see that. That'd be cool.
I
Thank you.
will send that tomorrow.
Okay.
And Patty, is it okay if I just send everything to you and you'll distribute it?
I'll disseminate. Sure. Thank you, Cameron.
Thank you.
We just need to make sure we put it on make sure it all goes on the web, the CRC web. Or, you know what I mean?
And Patty, well, we can talk about that offline, but yes. And Patty, I don't know if you had more on your list. I have a question for Camelin.
I think I used all of the ones I had, so go ahead, Liz.
Yeah, so I was sparing you all from watching me eat my dinner. So Camelin, and you don't need to answer this immediately. You can include it in the body of your email, or if you've got things at the top of your list. I would really like to know your top, 1, 2, 3, 1 through 5, whatever it is for you, of anything that you think we should be considering as a body regarding initiatives and the initiative process. So from your perspective, having done it, been on that side of the table, what works, what doesn't work, that would be really helpful to know.
I think as far as the working side of it, procedurally, the most important part, not the most important part, but the part that I do is the signature verification of the petitions, that the language to the sponsor is very clear exactly what they need to do. I mean, there's things that are very specific about, the petition being on white paper. I just like having to invalidate a piece of yellow legal paper that has 20 signatures on it because it's on yellow legal paper. It doesn't have the ballot title or the ordinance on the back. And, you know, we do have handouts for this. And, you know, we do have the ordinance. But I think personally, I just need to make it a way to make that more clear to the people to present their hard work, you know, present it to elections so we can actually you know, validate signatures. And the rest is, you know, just putting on the ballot.
Lots of
Cameron?
Cameron.
Yep.
Caroline, I don't know whether you were through with that and you just faded out, but I don't want to forget to ask you.
Yes, period.
Okay, electronic signatures. We did discuss that slightly when I talked to you on the phone. Is there, I think you said that if that capability was something that the state, the Secretary of State recognized that that would also be used in San Juan County, but I'm not sure how that would apply to initiatives.
Well, one thing with the petition is in the ordinance, the petition has the initiative language or ballot title on the front. It also, you know, states, you know, it's unlawful to sign, you know, if you're not registered, yada, yada. And then the signature is below that, and the ordinance is on the same piece of paper, but on the back. So having an electronic signature on the same page, front and back, doesn't follow the ordinance. If that makes,
Right, I see.
if I'm clear about that.
Yeah, so you
So,
have to,
again, I would follow suit with the state when they want to say that's okay. And as I think, Patty, as you and I talked about, you know, the two different versions of an electronic signature. You know, some people can take a stylus and sign the screen, and, you know, their signature can match the signature that we have in their voter registration. And then some electronic signatures are, you know, typing your name out and then changing the font to a cursive. Is that, they still call it cursive.
And how do you verify that?
If it's a typed out name in cursive,
Yeah.
it's not valid.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say that wouldn't be a real
Yeah.
electronic signature.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, we have some voters in the islands that have some absolutely beautiful penmanship, but there's still different slants, and
Yeah, you can actually match it from the stylus signature because of what you learned how to do, you know, to look at different
Yes.
things, the way things swing around. Because like what I sign now doesn't look to me anything like my signature, but you could probably match it.
yes, and we all have very unique slants, loops, you know, writing on a line, writing upwards, writing downwards. Even if you sign your name on the steering wheel, there's still something unique about your signature.
Yeah. Okay, so it has to be that kind of a signature if there were an electronic signature. But the big thing is, how do you put that on a document that doesn't have a backside?
Correct.
So it's having, you know, maybe it can be a 2-page document or something that you sign on the bottom, and the second page is the backside. I don't know, but anyway, that is a consideration. So I don't know
Madam
how.
Chair, Madam
Yes,
Chair,
ma'am.
could I
Yes,
ask a
ma'am.
question?
Please do.
So another area, Camelin, that we're looking at is banning paid signature gathering in the San Juans. And I was wondering if you had any idea how many times we'd had paid signature gathering, or is that something that you wouldn't even know if it happened? And what would be your take on that?
Um, oh, I'm trying to decide whether or not I answer that or not.
Oh, yeah, it's cool if you don't feel comfortable answering it. I just, I didn't know even if we've had them here. I know that many years ago in the ferry line, there used to be paid signature gatherers, but they were often for statewide initiatives. And we would
State,
really
yeah.
just be looking at San Juan County initiatives.
Yeah, if it's something that's very important to you, you're going to do it because it's important to you. It's kind of like volunteering, to raise money for Relay for Life or scholarships. You don't ask to get paid, but I don't have an opinion. I do have an opinion, but
Right,
not when it comes to my role.
gotcha.
And Camelin, respectful of that, is there an answer in terms of, are you aware of that it's been used, or you would have no way of knowing that?
I don't have any knowledge of that.
Okay,
Yeah.
excellent.
And
So-
I don't know that you would have a way of knowing that, you in your position, because you just get petitions.
we were trying to suss
Yeah.
out whether we were solving a problem that didn't exist, and we didn't know how to figure that out. Is that even happening? Is it a factor that needs to be addressed, or is it a non-issue?
Yeah, I mean, as far as I know, I haven't heard anything of people being paid. When you go to Mark and Pack, you see people at the booth, and the people, and they're there because it's important to them.
Yeah.
And that's certainly been my experience on Lopez. You're at the farmer's market,
Mhm.
it's like, Andy's going to be there with a petition.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think we were just looking ahead to the fact that there's a lot of wealth in the islands, and maybe somebody might come up with something they want passed and kind of railroad it through by paying people to get out there and find signatures. And it may not be an issue at all, but it's money talks sometimes, and we don't want that to be that easy, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Dave.
Does the town of Friday Harbor have the right of initiative or referendum? Do you know?
It's only for county.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. And I have one more. We were asked during it was brought up during our town hall meetings about electronic elections, not just signature gathering, but elections. And you mentioned there's 4 a year elections. Is this something that is possible, or that you could see doing? It seems like it's something that might be happening in the far future, but
When you say electronic, can you clarify that?
voting online, just not just
I don't see it happening anytime soon.
Mhm.
Personal opinion.
Yeah.
We value that.
Yeah.
There's
I 100% trust our vote by mail and our process. It is 100% transparent. You can come in our office anytime and ask any question, and I'll probably give you too much information, and you'll be wanting to sneak out when I'm still explaining, because I'm so excited about it.
Yeah, I think we have really a great system here, and it's so easy to just drop your ballot or give it to somebody else if you don't want to go into town, and they'll drop it in the mail or in the sheet. I mean, I don't know if that's legal or not, but I can't walk that well, and sometimes I don't get out, but at least if I do it and I sign it and it's all there, nobody else can get in it.
If your signature matches, we will accept it.
Yeah.
There you go. So have we exhausted our questions and
It
Emily?
looks like it. Let's see. We
Dave,
were
what
asked,
else you got?
who were the freeholders? Well, we don't really know. What were past initiatives and attempts, and did they succeed? And she's going to bring that to us. What do we need on an initiative? Well, that's in the it's already in the ordinance,
Mhm.
unless, let's see, what do you need on the initiative? Well, it's in the ordinance, basically. Does anybody have any questions about that? What does it look like? And the requirement for complete language. Yeah, no, unless anybody else has more questions. And Camelin is a font of information.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah,
I
I
have a
hope I
quick
was
question.
able to answer clearly for you.
Dave,
I have a quick question. Maybe it is a personal question, direct. I mean, how do you feel about if the county lowered the signature level? Do you feel like 15 is working?
yeah,
You answered that.
I mean, if it goes to the ballot, it's still up to the people whether or not, you know, it's gonna pass or not. And, you know, we did vote for our council members. You know, if they chose to, you know, pass it instead of putting it to the people. But the people still have the right in the open public meetings to voice their concerns. So like I said, I trust the process all the way through. And I feel if it's, you know, if something's really important to the people, getting signatures wouldn't be an issue. Obviously, you know, right now, the last year, that's an issue. But you know, going forward, we're still at the grocery store, we're still at Market Pack, there's still a table there. So yeah, I don't have an opinion whether it stayed at 15% or, you know, went down to 10%.
it's true that this last year, I don't know that any initiatives came to you, did they? I mean, people would have had a really tough time gathering signatures. I don't know. Liz, sorry.
There was a sponsor trying to get signatures at the very beginning when COVID hit.
Yeah.
So
Kimberly, can I ask a clarifying question about what you just said? And the people voted for the council to be able to decide whether something goes to the ballot. So was it originally not that way, or did I misunderstand what you just said?
no, what I was saying was, you know, we voted for our council.
Okay.
And with the petition, with the process of the initiative, when it goes to council, council could choose to accept it as presented, or they can move it to the people, move it to the ballot. Is that clear?
Okay, so they can't just squelch it. If
No,
somebody got,
no.
okay, somebody gets their
Yeah.
10%, their 15%, council has to move forward in a couple different forms that they can choose from, but they can't just say,
Yes.
oh, okay.
Yeah, council can adopt it as is.
Okay.
And, or if they're like, you know, this actually needs to go to people, then they'll move it to the ballot.
Okay.
So they can't say, hey, great try.
Yeah, that does seem like such an adult way to behave. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm wondering at this point if maybe my pet issue of lowering the signature things is maybe not something that's that important when you look at the number of signatures needed. I don't have any personal experience about trying to get an initiative on the ballot. I just want to be able to allow other people to do that. And, I do have a friend who gathers signatures, has been gathering signatures for state ballots for quite a while. And I know she works like really hard for them. But maybe it is a non-issue. Maybe 15% is a good percentage.
Well, on a statewide ballot, it's different than on a San Juan County one.
Oh, right.
You know, so it
That's
will be a little
state.
different.
Yeah,
here.
that's true.
But I've
That's
worked
true.
on two
Thank
of
you.
them, and getting the required 15% hasn't been an issue. You know, I
Really?
was just kind of fascinated that our number was so much higher than all these other counties, you know, so. But what sounds like it's very popular with the commission is banning paid signature gatherers. I've heard a number
Really?
of people say, oh, I really like that. But we've asked Randy that question, right? Kevin's
I
asking
haven't heard
Randy.
back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so that's
I
cool.
haven't. Yeah. Well, so, I mean, it just makes me rethink it. Maybe the fact that, hey, all we have to do is get 1,900 signatures is easy. I don't know. Maybe it's something we shouldn't be working so hard on. I don't know. This,
So you're also
Yeah.
looking at 1,900 over 4 different islands.
yeah, over 4 and
Right.
more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we thank Camelin for her time and then just talk about what we've learned and how do we move forward from there? I mean, you're welcome to stay here with us, but I also want to respect
Yeah.
you're
her
not at
privacy.
work.
If you want to stop and go eat or something, you're sure welcome to. Thank you so much for being here, Camelin.
Yes.
Yeah,
really
and like I said, if
appreciate
you
it.
have
Thank
any questions, feel free to email me, call me, and so if I don't know the answer, like I said, I'm not too sure, I will look it up. That way I'm
Thank
not, misinforming you or anybody that wants to listen to this. Hope not.
No worries.
But yeah, I
Thank
mean,
you.
it's good for me to have these questions because they're things that I should be thinking about and I should know too. And it's good to know the history, how things came about and how they could change or need to change. And like I said, with the petitions themselves, it's really important that there be a printed name and a signature and they be a registered voter for that, that signature to count, just for the efforts of the sponsors, putting that petition forward.
Yeah. Well, I know we certainly look forward to your email and, and
Yes.
that will be terrific. So thank you for the additional work we've dumped into your lap here.
Yep. Not a problem.
One last comment that I have. I know that one of the committees here is working on trying to get the county to archive everything. So it wouldn't, if that had been done, you could go back to earlier records and pull out those freeholders because it would be right there. So yeah, maybe that is a good idea.
Yeah. Well, I am a paper hoarder. I save everything at work. I save nothing at home.
It's good. Dave.
Do you save the petitions that have been
I do.
filed?
Yes, I do. Since I've been there, any piece of paper that has to do with an election, I have a hard copy of, and I also scan everything in. So there is a backup of it. And then there's the retention schedule, which eventually will go to the state archives. But yes, as far as since I've been there, I can account for all the petitions, and I do have a drawer of petitions prior to me, and they are saved and are scanned.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And they're also public record, so it's just easier to hit a button and say, here you go, have at it.
All good. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome. If
Thank
anything else,
you.
feel free to email me, call me. Otherwise, I will get this list answered and returned to y'all. Actually, I'll send it to Patty
Thank you.
and she can share it with you.
Perfect.
Great.
Okay.
Cameron,
Well,
so-
you guys have a great night and thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cameron.
Thank you.
Thank you for your work to our county too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
right.
welcome. My pleasure.
Great
My
job, Liz.
pleasure.
We appreciate it.
It's fun to
Okay,
hear
I'm
how
hitting the leave button. Off to dinner I go.
Good, good, good.
it's fun to hear how much she enjoys her work. That's really exciting.
Well, she really knows a lot about it, and she's willing to take the time to tell you all about it, you know, and listen and all that. I really appreciate it.
Dave, I'm blanking. Are you on San Juan or Orcas?
Dan Juan.
So you actually could walk over into her office and see her
Oh.
drawer full of.
Yeah, you could.
Yep. Done it.
Yeah.
She was very helpful in terms of filing for me.
Oh,
And,
oh, exciting. And
Yeah.
Marie, what have you done to your shoulder?
Oh, I'm just icing it. I have, like a tendon issue, tendonitis, osteoarthritis, and I refuse to have my injury stop my actions.
Oh, there you go. My partner's a PT, so
I-
watching this behavior and going, okay,
Yeah.
got to keep getting it over your shoulder.
Yeah, heat it in the morning, ice it at night.
Ah. She'll tell you ice is your friend. So
Totally.
anyway,
Into it.
so that was informative, and I'm excited to hear the other missing pieces. That will be good to get that. Patty,
So, oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it was interesting to hear you begin to wonder out loud about backing away from the 15%.
Right. Because, well, one of the things I was thinking about was that, you know, this commission, we have a lot of committees and they're all doing things. And not everybody's going to come up with something that has to be an amendment to be considered, but we're looking into them thoroughly. And it's up to us to bring it forward to the full commission as an issue, or to say, hey, maybe we looked into it and maybe that's not that important. So we looked into this. You can, as a commission, you can look into it also, but we don't think it's that important. So I don't know. Part of the thing is not to overtax the ballot with a whole bunch of things to consider. And I don't know. I mean, I was thinking that this percentage thing is basically my pet project, which is why I started saying, hey, maybe we don't need to do it. Because I don't want to be the one to push it necessarily. But if other people feel that it is a valid thing, we should probably go forward with it. I'm going to go ahead and share the screen again with this little issues deal that I did, since that's what they wanted us to do. If I can remember how to
And-
do.
Patty, are you okay if I ask the other commissioners if their position is swayed, shifted on the percentages?
Oh, of course. I mean, of course, everything's up for, I was just commenting about mine. We're going to be discussing.
Yeah.
Um,
So Dave, Anne Marie,
what do you think?
anything shifted for either of you in terms of?
I like initiatives. I spent like an hour or so today, a couple hours today, writing findings, doing a write-up of making an
Yes,
argument for this.
yes,
So
you did.
I'll probably be for a yes, I think putting something like this on the ballot will inspire our culture, our activist culture, and the culture of initiative here. And I'd like to see more initiatives in general, and people working to exercise this right. I probably agree with Cameron that if there's an important issue, people will go out and get the signatures. We're talking about lowering it from 19
15.
To 13 about.
to 13, or is that right? Yeah, I mean,
Right.
Oh, I see. You're talking numbers versus.
yeah, we're
percents.
talking like lowering
Really,
1900
no,
to 13.
19, more like when we're talking about 8%, that's less even, right?
Isn't 8% 13?
I
10%?
I think we're going to get hit
Yeah,
back
okay.
with
I
that,
probably-
that we're going to have
I
a lot of
probably-
frivolous initiatives. I think that's what we're going to hear, is that there'll be a lot of frivolous initiatives
That'll
coming
be
in
what
if we lower it.
You mean by going to 8 or changing it at all?
I think changing it at all,
by going to 8.
even going to 10, I think.
And
we're
is
gonna
there
get-
evidence, is there evidence of that, or is there,
I think it's going to be based on how small the county is and the high percentage of voters and the low percentage that's required.
if I just think out loud about it for a minute, I think parts of me are really leaning towards leaving it at 15.
Yeah.
Because in part, because that means that more conversations have taken place out in the community to get those signatures, which means there's a higher likelihood that it will pass because
Mhm.
people will be invested in it,
Right.
which means that the initiative process would be more effective and successful. And stop me if that thinking is, faulty at any point, but
So that's kind of where I've arrived at. And I'm at the point where I think banning the paid signature gathering, if we're allowed to do it, could be the winning, angle, because then it would be, you got to be in San Juan County to do this. You got to be one of us. You can't bring people in from the outside.
And you gotta
what?
believe in it, not just
Yeah.
getting money for it. But
I do, it just kind of makes me think of little cautionary of, the number of people who have gone to Georgia or somewhere to help gather signatures, to help get the vote out, to do those things. So I want to be sure that we don't somehow have unintended consequences of casting a negative, pale on that.
Mhm. That's an interesting perspective. I hadn't thought of that.
I think of it as a voluntary process, though, and even those people that would go to Georgia,
that's
if they
right.
felt really strongly about it, they would still be volunteers in my mind,
Yeah,
rather
that's a
than
good
paid
point.
signature.
Yeah.
But I am
Okay.
curious, since Dave has written findings, I want to hear them.
Okay. They'll just see. I can probably pull them up where they are.
I don't know if you can share a screen or not. I don't know how to do that.
I don't know if I can either.
That little green button, see what happens.
Yes, try it and see what happens.
Okay. Let's
I've
see.
never tried it. Maybe my machine will blow up.
Push it at any
Right.
time and
Did it say you can?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Okay.
Oh yeah, there it is.
There it is.
Cool. Okay, here
Okay,
it
is
is.
that- no,
But it's
something
not
with-
all there. It's
Yeah.
only
How do I get
part
rid of this? Oh, here we go.
if you close your sidebar, there you go.
and start at the top.
Okay.
Okay.
Clearly a draft.
Yes. Can you read it aloud?
So,
Dave, this is so awesome you did this. You
Oh.
rock.
well, I said it would. So,
But you know,
um,
the mini initiative, I think the mini initiative is 3% at this point.
Dave, do you mind enlarging it just a little so that I won't have to put my face in the screen? Thank you.
yeah. How's that?
That's more than enough. Thank you.
Okay.
It doesn't
Cool.
even have to be that big. There was just a little bit I needed. Thank you.
It's already. I put it at 14 points because I just can't see either. So,
But
Or-
I think the mini is at 3% at this point. Rather, I mean, I think it
Okay.
already is. I think that's what it is. You have to have at least 3% for a mini initiative.
okay.
So we wouldn't be changing the mini, but we'd be changing the full.
Paul
I mean-
Dawson's proposal he was kind of cutting them both in half. And I thought they were kind of going off of Paul Dawson's proposal,
Really?
but
Okay, well,
that's fine.
I thought that when I was reading that ordinance and I saw mini initiative there, I thought I saw it say at least 3%.
And that's what he has at the very
So-
top, right?
Okay, let's do it there. Yeah.
Well, he just changed it from 4 to 3. So, you know, it already is at 3, I believe.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
I guess
Okay,
we don't want to
let's
increase
vote.
it,
Yeah.
No, we don't want to increase it.
please.
Okay.
Okay. Should I just read this? And
Please.
At 15%, San Juan County has the highest signature requirement in all of the counties in Washington State. The San Juan County Charter provides the right for voters to exercise direct democracy through the right of referendum, initiative, and mini initiative. Currently, excessive regulations to limit this right undermines the right pursued and established by the charter. San Juan County is the smallest of the home rule counties, vested with a healthy culture of political activism and pursuit of direct democracy. At 15%, San Juan County has the highest signature requirement of all counties in the state of Washington. Clallam, Clark, King, Pierce counties enjoy 10% signature requirements, and Whatcom County fairly requires 8%, and Snohomish requires 7%. The Washington State standard is 8% of the votes counted in the last gubernatorial election. The states of California, Oregon, and Idaho only require 6% of the gubernatorial voter turnouts to propose amendments to statute. Increased regulations from the state limit the availability for signature gathering in the public square. Suspicion raised by private data mining scams hinder the collection of signatures, making this traditional democratic right more difficult. The rise of online purchasing keeps voters at home and out of the public square, further limiting access of petitioners to voters. San Juan County constantly has the highest voter turnout. In the last gubernatorial election, San Juan County had the highest percentage, 90.76% of voter participation in the state of Washington, which was 84.11% average. Even though this is to be celebrated, this further increases the number of signatures required to place an initiative on the ballot.
I love it.
So that's what I got so far.
But you don't need to add anything more to that. Let's see, you got how many signatures are required? You answered all these questions. That's what you got.
I don't have the numbers. I didn't have the numbers, and that
No,
was
it's okay.
we had them before, but I didn't put them on here. And
No.
Good.
Well, I think that's a really strong argument when you compare us with the rest of the state. The only time it gets weaker is when you start saying, well, you're only talking about 1,900 signatures, you know, but still, we only have 17,000 people in the county. Whatever.
So Anne-Marie, given that you and I were sort of leaning to the value of keeping it at 15%, I mean, I love, Dave, that you did this. I'm like going, well, wait a minute. So I'm of two minds, and I think I'm still leaning towards that the conversations that occur to get the initiative on the ballot are valuable towards building consensus. And maybe that's a wrong requirement to place on signature gatherers.
Right, because you do have a chance for having that conversation out there before the actual election comes up. And also maybe the county even will vote it in, who knows? But I guess I'm leaning toward maybe, I don't know whether we need all of this language. It's great, but it's a lot. But to bring this to the whole commission with the argument and have them decide whether it's worth it or not. You know what I mean? I think Dave's done a strong argument here, and why not?
Hey, Dave, can you talk to us about your process of writing this? This is cool.
Oh, thanks. Well, I'll point out the first word for sure. Draft.
Yeah.
And I was just trying to make some kind of argument to see what are the issues that I put the first fact, 15% of San Juan County is the highest. I put that there twice. That's kind of the biggest fact I think that that is to be pointed out, that we are the highest. I just try to make the argument that we are an activist county, and we want the initiative culture to reflect the voters of this county, not just that we do appreciate direct democracy. I'm not sure it's really true. I mean, I think there is a suspicion here I'm finding of direct democracy, and that's why I suspect that it was originally put at 15%. That, but I think that's, I was just trying to convey us that we are a county that appreciates direct democracy, and we appreciate this process. And I think that is also reflected in the high voter turnout in gubernatorial elections. And I just try to make an argument with a fact by fact basis. Maybe there's some tinge of bias throughout there for sure.
Yeah.
No worries.
I think that we do need to edit it a little bit, make it a little briefer, just because, but it's a really strong argument. And I don't know, I feel like I would like to put that in the Excel spreadsheet as findings, and just, present it to the big charter. I think we're getting to the point where we don't have that much more to do, in that we'll have to hear back about banning paid signatures and whether that's a possibility.
So then does it become a two different amendments to the charter that this group would be proposing? One is dropping the number, and two is the including language for no paid signature gatherers?
And
That's my,
Yeah, they would be separate.
It would be separate.
yeah,
Okay.
oh yeah,
Separate
they have to be
subjects, yeah.
separate.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
the financial language, this may possibly this, and then the paid signature gathering. Is that what you're saying?
I just
yeah,
want to
let me,
clarify that out of this subcommittee would come two amendments to the charter.
let me,
One is we're proposing that we lower the percentage, and the other is that we include new language that outlaws or whatever it is paid signature gatherers. So those
can
would
I
be,
go ahead and share the screen with this, because they want to have an Excel spreadsheet, and just show you what's there and we can look at it? Okay, just a sec. Where is it? There. Okay. So do you see this thing?
Not yet, but it'll be up. There you go.
takes a moment.
It's weird. The person who shares the screen doesn't see what you guys see. We still see our computer. Weird. Okay. So the first issue, I just said lower the signature requirement, and then the proposal would be lower it to 8%, whatever, and the mini initiative requirement should remain at 3%. And then there's a space for findings, which can be huge. And I was thinking of just sticking whatever Dave's final would be in there, and then we would give that to the commission. And the next one was about the financial limitation clause, and we haven't really done that much work on it. And I've listed what the clause is, and I'm not sure what we want to say about that. I don't know whether.
We know that all the other counties have it except for King. And
yeah,
and remember where Dick was when he was a member of the committee. And, he was like, we elect county council members, and we have we have a budget, and so I I don't consider him to be one of the more conservative members of the group. But I think there'll be a lot of people that
No,
would be very concerned
he's fair.
budget-wise. Yeah, very concerned budget-wise about this. So I just, I don't really understand,
I
'cause
kind of
an
agree.
awful lot of Einman stuff causes problems financially. Like he takes money away from the ferries because he does the stuff with the gas. And so I don't really, I guess the state requirement's different. I don't really know. But
Well,
go ahead.
what this does though is make you have to pay for it in your initiative. Make you identify, are you going to raise a tax, or what are you going to do to pay for it? And we've done this in other initiatives, I think they have.
And who?
So, and I can see that, it's like King County has a lot of money. We don't. If we vote in something that costs money and then we leave it up to the council to figure out where the money's coming from, it is somewhat zero sum unless we identify where we're going to pay for it. Not every. Oops. Yes, Liz.
Which one of the commissioners was it that said that is not our job? That's what we hire county council to do. Our job is to, or the initiative job.
Right.
Who was it that said that? It's not Dick. Does anybody recall who that is? I mean, they're very cut and dry about it. I wish I could remember who it is.
But even so, I don't think that's really fair. When you do have a county that.
But the reason I was wanting to clarify who that was is because that I could have a conversation with them to say, can you explain more to me? That seems like it's very clear in your head why we shouldn't require that. And can you, tell me more about that? But I don't recall who it is, so. No,
Dave, I know this was kind of an issue that you had.
Yeah. But Bill Appel or Paul Dossett, I think they might have mentioned similar ideas, that they think that if any idea is proposed, it should actually have a financial, a way that it's paid for.
Right.
It was, what was it? He was talking about something else recently about that. I'm not sure what.
But somebody was cut and dried. They should not have a limitation clause on it.
That was me.
But there is somebody else also, and it wasn't Dick Grout?
I doubt it.
Huh. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's still up for grabs.
I mean, I think what the initiative process does is it puts it on the ballot, and it opens a discussion for something to be debated. And there's definitely an opportunity for anybody, including elected leaders, to put a opposition, write an opposition against it, and to write there's opportunity for the petitioners to write a argument for it. And I think most people know about Tim Eyman and some of the things he's done. And I think I think that.
But Tim Eyman had the opposite effect, though. Tim Eyman, he sort of, yeah, he did have the same effect because it cost everybody, they didn't have any money in their budgets anymore because Tim took away the money. He didn't identify a source to pay more because he was just saying, you guys, cost too much. So,
right.
Yeah, it's a horrible thing that he did. Really, I'm sorry.
Well, and I think what I was going to say is that like people have that suspicion built in. When I've gathered signatures, almost a good percentage of people ask, "Is this an Eyman initiative?" No matter what it is. I mean, people are very suspicious, and I think people will bring some kind of a Tim Eyman critique to this issue. Like they will be suspicious. Like, well, okay, you could do something that will be runaway spending, and And that's the concern. But I think this is giving more power to voters to have more, and it's giving an opportunity for creativity for managers to make decisions on how policy changes are funded. It gives managers an opportunity to do granting and seek funds and be creative how policies are changed. Not just, it's not expecting voters to tie a tax increase to any large or potentially small initiative that people want change in. It opens up for a lot more ideas to come into the public sphere. And also, not all ideas are funded by the county, and sometimes there's policies that are existing that the county is really not funding. It takes it takes something for, okay, a big policy gets passed and it's in law now. The county, it does fund it. It should fund it, but it doesn't necessarily have to. And then they can wait for the lawsuits to come to not have it funded, just to be forced to fund it. And so, I mean, I have found laws are generally suggestions and not necessarily hard, fast in stone. And I think this is driving a debate, is the idea, and it opens up debate.
I think that's a good point. So actually, this kind of thing. So I think we could still bring it to the commission. Let's see how we do that. Oh, whatever. As a, that should go in the findings thing, rather than in what we're gonna do, because I don't know what is our recommendation here, our proposal for financial, is that that should we propose that
should we talk about this next week?
okay.
I'm just wondering.
Sure.
We're almost a half an hour over.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I'm sorry,
and
guys. Yeah.
We could either start the meeting earlier next week or look at this and kind of.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I don't want to.
Didn't even see the time. Yeah. No, you're right. So let's pull this discussion and
Dave wants to say something.
Yeah. As far as the writing and findings I found, or whatever the writings I wrote, I would really appreciate a hard edit by anybody and to
could you email them to us?
Sure.
Could
Absolutely.
you email
That's the best way.
Is it in a Word document?
Yep.
Great.
Yeah.
So email
So-
it and we'll have at it.
Yeah,
Thank you
please.
so much for doing it.
Yeah,
Oh
thanks
my
for doing it. It looks good.
And
looks-
Dave, if because I get the sense you enjoy doing some of that finding writing. So if you have findings on either of the other two that
Yeah.
you want to float out there,
Okay. I'm happy to do it.
I love it, Liz.
say
Yeah.
what?
Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's stream of conscious.
What did you say, Dave?
It's stream of
Okay.
conscious. A lot of it is
Oh,
just
yeah. And
um,
it's so
That's right.
invaluable when somebody's willing to give us a starting point. And so
Oh.
I have tremendous respect for anybody who does that.
well, thank you.
Thank
Very
you.
good. Thank you.
As long as I have a really hard editor, because a lot of it's I'm too flowery and
Well,
stuff. But yeah, I would appreciate hard edit and not. I appreciate it not being published to our
Right.
spreadsheet
Right.
and put forward
This is,
until.
we're just working it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
this
I
is
won't
we
on the
call these
spreadsheet
working
yet.
documents,
yeah,
They are working documents.
and
I
they're
just-
drafts. They're very, very draft.
yeah.
There's no vote on anything yet.
Yeah.
I think we can say, though, that we probably aren't going to do anything with electronic signatures. We're not even going to mention that in the thing, because it would be too hard for a petition to have an electronic signature.
Well, I
As
think we should mention it so that we can show that we crossed something off the list.
No, we'll mention it, but we'll say, that it's been, we aren't going to bring that forward.
Yeah.
It'll be on the thing, but just, we're not going to do it.
Do you want
Okay,
to stop? Do you want to stop the recording?
yeah, I think we need to adjourn, and I'm going to stop the recording right now if I can figure out how. There it goes.
Anne
Okay.
Marie, I have a